Welcome back everyone, thank you for clicking on the video. I'm officially back and uploading more videos for you guys. I've had an issue with my laptop being unable to edit my videos properly, so I decided to purchase a new gaming PC for all my editing and stream purposes. So I apologize for the lack of content lately. We can move on forward, but before we get into it, smash that like button if you're a big Division fan and subscribe if you're new. We'd like to have you, and make sure to join my Discord to keep up to date for all future updates and Division discussions. And with that being said, let's move on to today's topic. For all my solo players out there who love to run and gun in close quarters combat, this is a build that I think will suit you guys very well. It's perfect for farming if you're looking to play a mission and continuously repeat it over and over again, looking for a specific gear set, especially if you're getting tired of using the same build constantly. This is a nice refresher that you can go to have a bit of fun with, and also getting the job done for you in completing the mission. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Primary weapon is the Dark Winter. This is the named Vector SMG. It was supposed to be an exercise, and it turns out we weren't prepared. This name item is very nice. It has a total weapon damage of 68.7k, 1200 RPM on the gun, and 45 rounds in the magazine. Mine came with max SMG damage, max crit chance, and max damage to target out of cover, and the talent grants you Perfect Killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. And the reason why we're using this gun is because of the talent Perfect Killer that enables the extra 50% critical hit to boost the fluidity and the movement for your kills. Secondary weapon is the Mop named Shotgun. Wet work is a messy business, and some cleanup jobs require a big mop. Marco the Mop Mosiano. I have a total base weapon damage of 809,000, 130 RPM on the gun, 7 rounds in the magazine, 14.3% shotgun damage, 11% damage to armor, and the unique armor on kill attribute that this gun grants you, which blends really well with this build. And the talent that I am utilizing is Optimus. Weapon damage is increased by 3% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. Optimus is a great choice for a shotgun because generally speaking it does have low rounds in the magazine, so it'll be easier to proc Optimus to increase more of your weapon damage. You can go with In Sync if you like to, but personally for me I would recommend using Optimus because you don't have to rely on a different skill to grant more damage. And I kind of wanted to go a little bit off the meta too and bring some of the old talents in the game. Now before we move forward into the build, I want to showcase the specialization. We are going to be utilizing the Gunner class simply because of the 10% armor on kill. This is an armor on kill build, so the more armor we can replenish for ourselves, the better. And also the 10% weapon handling for primary and secondary weapons. And the last but not least, the foam grenade that helps us out for those pesky NPCs and rogue agents that just will not stop moving, and you can glue them on the ground, giving you a chance to do as much damage as possible. And now let's go ahead and move towards the gear. First piece of the build, we got the one-piece Bellstone Armory for that 1% armor regen. I have a max blue core attribute on top, max critical hit chance, and max critical hit damage that I did roll. Second piece of the build, we got the name Badger Tough chest piece called the 0 Fs. Here is the field where I grow my Fs, below it lies fallow. This one piece will grant you that 10% shotgun damage. I do have a max armor that I did fully optimize, 10.8% critical hit damage that is close to being optimized, and 6% critical hit chance that I did recalibrate, and a max critical hit damage mod on the bottom. And if you guys didn't know, this talent grants you Perfectly Unbreakable. When your armor is depleted, repair 100% of your armor, and the cooldown is for 55 seconds. This chest piece is very nice because since we are utilizing an armor on kill blend with this build, you want to have as much survivability as possible as you tank these NPCs because they do so much damage up close. So I feel like having the additional shotgun damage for the mop was a perfect choice for the build. And now let's move forward to the gloves. We got the name 511 Tactical Death Grips. Most people are white knuckling their way through life, stress levels off the charts, working dead-end jobs, paying off their loans, student debts, fucking lattes, and that shit will kill you without clarity in your life. And nothing brings clarity like hanging off the side of a mountain. Man, talk about truth right there. This glove right here gives you the unique 10% armor on kill for more survivability for you guys when you get that kill. I do have a max armor on top and a max critical hit damage that I did recalibrate. And moving on to the holster, we got the last Bellstone Armory for the 10% additional armor on kill for the survivability. I do have close to mid-max armor attribute, 4.9% critical hit chance, and a max crit damage attribute in there. This is the best Bellstone piece that I had in my inventory and stash, but if yours came with a little bit better, that's perfect. Moving on to the fifth piece, we got the name overloader knee pads called the Fox's Prayer. You ever heard of an atheist in a foxhole? Me neither. These knee pads grant you damage to target out of cover, multiplicative damage on sprinkle on top, in addition to your additive critical hit damage. I do have a weapon damage that I did fully optimize and a max critical hit damage attribute in there. And the last but not least, the icing on the cake to the build, we got the exotic Memento backpack I took from those who watched, hunted, and collected until only their shadows remain. Now my watch has ended, so yours may begin. Max weapon damage on top, 156,000 armor, plus 1 skill tier, and a 11.9% critical hit damage mod. If you guys didn't know, the talent Kill Confirmed, enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides both a short and long-term buff, the first of which scales with the number of core attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. 5% weapon damage, 10% bonus armor, 5% skill efficiency, but the biggest kicker is the long-term buff, which reads, for every trophy collected you gain an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, which equates to all skill attributes in the game such as skill health, skill damage, skill haste, etc., and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds, and the maximum stacks is 30 stacks. So if you do the math, at max stacks you can obtain 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen lasting for 5 whole minutes. This is fantastic and goes really well with the build because number one, you have Unbreakable to save your life as a backup, and the Dark Winter helping you collect as much trophies as you can as you run and gun on towards these NPCs. You have the 511 named gloves to help you out for an additional armor and kill when you do down that NPC. And you got the 2-piece Bellstone for the armor regen. And the last but not least, you've got the Fox's Prayer multiplicative damage to help you put the icing on the cake. Now let's move on to the skills. The first one, I highly recommend utilizing the Revive Hive, especially if you're playing solo. Kind of recommend using this build mostly for solo. It does work well on group play, but because it's an armor on kill, I feel like you probably won't have the luxury of collecting all the trophies because your teammates will be getting some of the kills as well. So for that reason, I recommend using this build mostly for solo play, for off meta and farming purposes. Secondary skill, this one is an absolute must. As you can tell from the clips of the video, the decoy is what's going to grant you the attention offsetter onto yourself, onto this guy right here. Without the decoy, the NPC's primary focus is going to be on you, thus giving you a harder time to get a kill and grant you more trophies, which is why I highly recommend using this in conjunction with your Dark Winter. That way you can just keep on running, gunning them, down them, collecting trophies, and move forward from there. And with this being said, let's go ahead and move under the curtain and showcase these statistics of the build. I'm sitting for 68,000 weapon damage, 57.9% critical hit chance, and 144.7% critical hit damage. And I do have 482,538 armor on kill. Look at this. Even with a 4-piece Hunter's Fury, you cannot obtain this high stack of an armor on kill. You can generate about 250,000-ish, but you cannot cap over 300 without equipping an additional armor on kill boost. And on top of that, we have a bit of armor regen to help support your survivability here, but the main bread and butter from this is going to be the armor on kill. And lastly, before we close, if you guys are able to find a couple of these pieces that you can roll red core attributes on top, that'll be a little bit better. Personally for me, it would have been great if I could find another Bellstone Armory or a 511 with max critical hit damage on the bottom already. That way I can re-roll the armor for a weapon damage, simply because I feel like 5 blues is way too tanky for a build like this, and I just feel like I lack a little bit DPS, but you know, it does help out with survivability. But that's just my own personal preference. I recommend try to stay within the 2 to 3 blue core attribute range, but I know it's going to be a little difficult because all these gear sets come with the default armor core attribute, which will be the only challenge into this build. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. I hope you guys liked it and find it useful. If you have, hit that like button on the bottom and subscribe if you are new around here. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.